بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Inshallah, today we'll be continuing on to the next letter, or letters, which will be letters Meem and Noon. So first we'll discuss how are Meem and Noon pronounced. Second is what is Gunna and what is its association with the nasal passage connected to the letters Meem and Noon. And lastly, how are Meem and Noon mutaharrik and sakin pronounced? There are no errors today because Meem and Noon are pretty standard letters which are found in almost every single dialect and language. But nevertheless, there are a few things that we need to discuss regarding them. First thing is, how is the letter Meem pronounced? First thing is, how is the letter Meem pronounced? So Meem is pronounced by doing two things. Number one, closing the lips. That's part one. That the lips have to be closed when pronouncing Meem. And secondly, producing a nasal sound from the nasal passage, as we can see right up here. This nasal sound that you hear is called the sound of a ghunna. So one thing to keep in mind is some people may misassume that ghunna is only talking about a situation when you hear people reading Quran going like something like tum or mil. No, ghunna is actually a part of two letters. Like it's always there no matter what. So anyway, that nasal sound that you see, that sound inside there is called the sound of a ghunna. And it's actually, she will get to this later. So the end sound of the Meem is carried through the nose, not the mouth. Unlike other letters, the actual sound and everything of the Meem is carried through the mouth. But for Meem, the actual sound of the letter is carried through the nose. And one way to practically see that is if you close your lips to pronounce the Meem and then completely close off your nose. Then when you try to say Meem, it will almost be impossible to pronounce Meem. Why? Because the sound is actually coming from up here, not down, not from your mouth. The only thing the mouth has to do is, see, since there's a passageway going from here till up here, up right behind there, the whole point is that the Meem, the lips simply block this, so everything is just coming out from here to create the Meem sound. That's it. That sound is the sound of what in Arabic is known as a ghunna, or a nasal sound. Moving forward, how is a noon pronounced? So noon is pronounced by making by making contact between the front of the tongue, the front part of the tongue, and the gums that are behind the upper teeth. So we have the upper teeth right here. So the front of the tongue has to touch the area behind the upper teeth. This area is a little bit behind the area where we pronounce a lam from. So if you pronounce a lam, a little bit behind that. It's a little bit behind that. So not the area where the lam is, but just so the lam would be more closer to the teeth. The noon will be a bit behind that. So that's where the tongue should be when pronouncing a noon. And just a little bit behind that. Once the tongue is positioned in that area, after that, like the letter Meem, the nasal sound is made to make the sound of the actual noon. So noon as well is another letter whose sound actually comes from the nose, and the sound does not come from the mouth. It requires the ghunna sound in order to pronounce. And again, the end sound of a noon is also carried through the nose, not the mouth. The same thing with the noon. If you take your tongue and you put it in the area where it's supposed to be, and then close off your entire mouth, your entire nose, you will be almost unable to pronounce a noon. Why? Because the noon sound comes through the nose, not through the mouth. That's where the noon sound comes from, the nose. So those are the letters Meem and Noon. And as you can see, unlike other letters, Noon and Meem have an extra part to them, which is the ghunna part in just pronouncing the letter. Now, one thing very quickly, what is a ghunna? So both Meem and Noon require the usage of the nasal passage and a sound passed through them called, that sound that's passing through them called ghunna. So Meem and Noon are impossible to pronounce without the nasal sound. They're required. If the nasal sound is not there, either you will not be able to pronounce a meme or noon, or it will be very, very, very difficult. That's why people who have a cold, they have a very hard time reciting Quran, especially the memes and noons, because the nasal passage is blocked, which makes it very hard to pronounce memes and noons. Now, this nasal passage is around the area that is above the upper palate. So in our mouth, we have the upper palate right here, the top part of our mouth that's hard and soft and all that stuff. Above that, that's where basically the entire nasal passage, or in Arabic, it's actually known as the khayshum. That whole area on top where this gunna sound is produced is called the khayshum. That's where this ringing or this vibrating sound, that whole sound, it's coming through that area that is above the mouth, in the cavity or the area that's above the mouth. So again, meme and noon require this gunna sound. Without it, it's impossible to produce a meme or a noon. Now let's just go through one thing. This gunna sound is a permanent quality of meme and noon and is always present. That means that again, meme and noon will always have a gunna, no matter what, right? There will always be a gunna with meme and noon. I'll discuss one more point relating to that later, inshallah. But just keep in mind, meme and noon, a part of pronouncing, like the makhraj of meme and noon, includes the gunna. It includes the gunna, not just the tongue and the mouth or the lips and teeth. Not just that, it includes gunna as well, which is the nasal sound, that sound. Now let's go to some examples. So when meme has a haraka, the lips are released. You let go of your lips when it's connecting, and then you let it go. And when noon has a haraka, the tongue is released from the gums on top, and then you make the motion for whichever haraka you are reciting. So for example, so first your lips are closed, and then when the gunna sound comes, you release the lips. Ma, ma, ma. So mata, mata. Then the next word, muhajiran. So mu, mu, mu. Third word, mihada. So me, me, me. So your lips are released. So ma, mu, me. Then with the noon, nasara. So same thing. Your tongue is touching that area on top, and then it releases. Na, na, nasara, nasara. The next word is numidu. So numidu. And then nisaun, ni. So na, nu, and ni. So that's then with the haraka. When a meme or noon is sakin, the lips remain where they are for meme. So for meme, the lips remain closed when you're making it sakin, and the tongue remains on the gums for the letter noon. It's not going to move from there while the sound for each is produced. So for example, for meme, So when you're saying the lips remain closed. Yeah, when you go to the next letter, you adjust accordingly. But so then alim, tum, the lips remain closed. Tum, be him, so the lips remain closed. Noon, the tongue stays on that top area, behind on the gums behind the upper teeth. An, kun, min. So an, kun, min. So the top we had tum, him. Here we have an, kun, min. So that's what do you call it? So one is situation when meme has a haraka, the other one is when meme and noon are sakin. So that's basically what we're supposed to do for today. One last thing I wanted to just mention very quickly is the letters meme and noon also have situations where the gunna is extended. For example, minkum. So you're extending the gunna is already there in noon. It exists. Noon does not exist without gunna, but it's being extended. Minkum, or there are lots of places in the Quran. Bin nas. So you're extending the gunna. So the gunna is always there. You're simply just extending the original gunna that was there to begin with. Same thing with the meme. Meme will have situations like iqlab or ikhfa shafawi, where the gunna is already there in the meme, but due to certain situations, you will enhance it. Like for example, min ba'di. Actually, that's actually different long. Let's see. Anbiya. Actually, that's another name. Let's pick up. No, I was thinking of iqlab situation. Ba after Meem. No, with Noon. Okay, let's just go. Let's just go with the other situation. So mimma. Let's just go to that situation. Mimma. So again, the gunna was already in meme. Meme cannot exist without gunna. But in that situation, mimma, you're simply extending. So that's called ikhfa shafawi. You're extending the meme. The extending the gunna that was already there in the meme or noon. So meme and noon always has gunna, but in certain situations, their gunna is extended. But anyway, the main thing I want to mention was the last line. But those situations, they are temporary qualities of meme and noon. That means they're not found in all situations. For example, well, meme has plenty of situations where it's not found, or not. With noon, for example, man khafa, man khafa. So the gunna is still there, man. You can't say noon, you can't say a noon without the gunna, but it's not extended. It's just man khafa, man. So you'll feel it in your nose, man, man. You close your nose, you can't pronounce it anymore. So man khafa, but it's not extended. Since it's not extended in some tajweed books, to make it easier for you to understand, they're gonna say, oh, that situation is bighayri ghunna, without a ghunna. It means without the extended ghunna, not with the original ghunna that exists in the letter noon to begin with. But since those are all temporary situations, what we're discussing right now in all of these days are permanent qualities of each letter. Things that those letters will have in any and all situations. Sometimes I go to temporary qualities like we did with Allah and Allahumma. But otherwise, we're only discussing permanent qualities. We're not discussing temporary situations with any of the letters. That's why I'm not going to get into ikhfa, idgham, idhar, all of those things. Those are temporary qualities. So that is letter, meme, and noon, and inshallah.